Welcome back, viewers. It's James Kalm, your half-assed reporter, the guy on the bike. We're saying hi to our worldwide viewership, and today we are welcoming the extraterrestrial viewers in the constellation Cassiopeia. We're going to pop in here to Fuentes on Essex Street for a very unique and strange, interesting show. Hello. Okay, well, we've provided our contact information here. Well, I said this was a strange show, and maybe that's not an exactly appropriate category, but I think it's an unusual show, and well, this is why you come to the Kalm Report. You'll catch things that you won't get in the mainstream art blogs or the major magazines, and if you do, you're going to get them about 6 months from now. Well, I have pedaled by this space probably every 2 or 3 days for the last 3 or 4 years, and I've noticed that it was empty for the last year and a half or so, and usually the lights are turned out, and then about a month or two ago I saw somebody started to put some paintings in here, and then well, about a week ago I saw Sue Coe was having a show here. I just looked through the windows and I could recognize the imagery. They're also saying in the press release that these are all paintings from the 80s, and I guess mostly the mid-80s. This is It's Not Safe, 1983. It's 83 by 120 inches. Mixed media and collage on paper. Well, Sue was a pretty well-known force during the first part of the East Village art scene, and well, in a certain way she kind of captured a kind of dirty, dark, musty, kind of dangerous aspect of the scene. I'm kind of looking at this and thinking, God, there's a lot of graphite in here. I also think that since here the Sue was actually born in Staffordshire, England in 1951, which is a good year. I guess that she studied over there for a long time before she immigrated, I guess, to the East Village in the early 70s. It's titled Vigilantes. Okay. Oh, no. February 19th, 1985. I don't know, maybe this is just too sardonic to think about, but maybe one of the reasons that James decided to show Sue at this point is that there is a lot of kind of similar things happening in New York as what was happening back during the late 70s, early 80s decline in the crack epidemic and the onset of the AIDS crisis. Also, I think Sue always had a very politically oriented approach to her work, and maybe in that way this relates more to, and they're saying in the press release that it has the look of propaganda, sort of, and it does kind of relate to some of the art that was happening in Germany, maybe at the end of the Weimar Republic. This is titled Needs of State. Okay, so I've got J. Edgar Hoover, Nikita Khrushchev, looks like Harry Truman, Richard Nixon. Okay. I wonder who these people are. Okay, we got Einstein. Is that George Orwell? Maybe Picasso? Sue is actually a very proficient, a very accomplished draftsperson, and I think that she also has done a lot of prints and illustrations. One of her other issues that she works with a lot is animal rights and some of the ethical issues of industrial farming and things. This is titled Baboon Heart Transplant. Okay, well, we got our little text. A team of brilliant surgeons cut the heart out of a baboon and sew it into a man who recovers long enough to talk to President Reagan on the phone. So it says that these are on paper, but it also looks like this might be mounted on canvas, and we've got a little folded over seam with grommets. And they talk about Sue using a palette of mostly blacks, grays, white, and red. And well, I think if you're going to be dealing with issues, I've been talking about content over form. When I say content, I'm talking about the story, the political things that you want to say, that it's always better to go with a simple palette which reduces the complexity of the formal issues, although there are certain abstract qualities about the work that help you kind of focus in on the narrative. This landlord says no to children. Okay, well, we could Just change the title and have something about Black Lives Matter as being damaged by gentrification. You know, time goes by, but the problems don't seem to ever go away. Also, it was interesting that Sue was one of the superstars of the East Village, at least the first iteration before the slick kind of commercial end of it, the Jeff Koons and Meyer Weissman and Peter Haley end of it came in, and like some other artists, Martin Wong, maybe Rick Prohl, even Basquiat to an extent. Sue always had kind of a gothic sensibility, maybe, kind of a dark, sinister, pensive view of the world. This is titled Police State. Oh, well, these are bobbies. This is oil on gessoed paper. Also, it ended up that while a lot of the other East Village artists kind of went on to Soho or Chelsea, Sue started working with a gallery uptown. It's Saint Atelier, I think that's the way it's pronounced. Which always specialized more in maybe German expressionism and some of the other Eastern European movements of early modernism. Blaureiter, the Broika, Neue Sachlichkeit. It's titled Traffic Violation. And I always kind of felt like a lot of the darkness in the East Village came out of the fact that much of that place had been burned, and it seems like everything that was coming out of there was sort of tinged by the smoke and the mildew and the darkness of a burning community. Okay, this will be our last one here. It's titled Baby Killers. Gouache and graphite and charcoal with acrylic gel glaze. Now this is the kind of stuff that I remember her doing. Okay, let's just say USA 1985 terrorists bomb women's clinic and threaten the lives of doctors. It's also interesting for me to see as a painter the way that she's glazing these and then adding in various kinds of collage elements on top kind of make these figures look like they're floating in a little different space. They're kind of floating above the backgrounds. Okay, this has been James Kalm at the James Fuentes pop-up space on Essex Street, and we have been looking at Sue Coe paintings from the 80s. just now we're going to run into the Eller Gallery. Take a walkthrough of an exhibition by E.J. Hauser titled Voyagers. Well, I've known E.J. for, gosh, about 10 years now, and I've been watching her work with a lot of interest. And I would say that I think this latest show is, well, her best so far. I guess that's not unusual. She's getting better and better. I think that there are a couple of obvious developments that have kind of attracted my eye. Well, we'll start a little stroll here. It's titled Big Voyager. Oil on canvas 70 by 55. Well, you could probably go back in the files, the James Kalm's files or the rough cut files, and find at least a couple of other programs that we've done on EJ. And, well, I think the first time that I met her was we were curated into a show by Fong Bui. Something about after the flood or something like that. Kind of the Broken Rail and Fong's homage to the art community that had survived Sandy. And EJ and I were actually in a little enclave of painters that were dealing with text at the time. And well, I like the work, and I do what I tend to do, which is kind of follow people's careers. Nice little piece. It's titled Little Voyager, 2020-2021. This is oil on canvas. I was saying that there were some things that I thought were kind of interesting developments. One of them is that it seems like for this show that EJ has really kind of clarified her imagery. Sometimes the work in some of the previous shows sort of mix together and become very abstract, whereas these, and this is a good example, this is titled Primary Voyager 2021. This is 80 by 72 oil on canvas. She's very explicitly laying out like her little horse, blue horse up there, and the red lion. And one of the things that I always thought was fascinating is the kind of the pixelated brush strokes. And I asked EJ, one of our painters' yak sessions, about this and whether or not she ran these through some kind of Photoshop or some kind of computer program. And she goes, no, it's just, that's the way I make the brush strokes. But I think it's kind of interesting the way that this kind of chunky, well, digitized brushstroke has a way of changing the character of the lines and the images and almost making it seem like it's computerized. And maybe that's just because we're all so used to seeing things on a computer screen. It's titled Yours Forever Blue 2021, oil on canvas is 20 by 16. Now this is much more like the work that I am familiar with seeing, although even here EJ is using, I believe that's a metallic silver underpainting. And these areas of color are much flatter. Her little pixelation brush strokes are not so evident. Okay, this is the piece that really caught my eye. It's titled Big Purple Voyagers. This is 80 by 72. Okay, so that's almost 7 by 6 feet. I think that this is an example of where EJ has really bumped up her color considerably. And I'm looking at this yellow and wondering if she's mixed some fluorescent in there. Also now she is using more of the silver paint. They talk about how some of these images have the quality of print that is out of register. So you can see that some of these lines are kind of repeated with a silver shadow behind them. And again, that's kind of one of the things that you expect when you're dealing with images that are run off of your computer and then printed out. And although I would say that a lot of this is pretty flat, there is a certain painterly quality to this. And I think that in a certain way you kind of have to make a sacrifice if you want to go for the high color and the real pop, visual pop. You maybe don't use such chunky paint because it doesn't reflect the light in the same way. It's titled Medium Silver Voyager. So I think this is interesting that she's kind of doing variations, maybe several variations on a theme. And okay, again you can see that there's some kind of blue pedometi there. And I like the kind of the flat, blocky sections here on the back. It almost looks like a collage. Again, a nice color thing. And gosh, I guess we can consider silver a color. Silver, gold, bronze, copper, all the metallics kind of entered our visual lexicon along with the fluorescent colors. Little Pink Voyager, 20 by 16. Okay, this almost looks like some kind of little pillows or something, maybe in a wicker chair, and I don't know, some kind of thing happening in the background. I like the various tones and values of pink that she's using. We went to a Don Voisin show last week, and we were paying attention to some very subtle color things. And this has got similar kinds of things, although EJ's drawing on top of that puts it in a little different realm. It's titled Jupiter, Saturn, Moon Seeds, and Snake, 2021. Small on canvas, 52 by 39. And this one she's letting a lot more come through from under the paint layers. Although this is more like the work I remember. A lot of drawing, a lot of layering. Although let me see if I can suss out some kind of an image there. Maybe we got a little, the title is a hint, little snake there, and okay, we'll look at a couple more paintings in the office gallery. So this is Yours Forever Green, 30 by 24. This is perhaps one of the more reductive pieces as far as the color goes. And, well, if you look closely, you can see some pedimenti coming through under the silver. I guess that does have kind of an architectural sense to the structure. We'll wrap up looking at this. It's titled The Listeners. (52 by 39). Well, I think this is a good example of where she's kind of got both sides of the thing going. She's got her very strong pixelated lines and images in the black, but she's also got a lot of pedimenti and underpainting coming through. So she might have wiped and some wiping and rubbing on this. I was wondering if there might be spray paint, but I don't think so. And again, this is a great, just a nice image of the birds. Yes, it's a very springtime-like painting. So this has been James Kalm reporting on E.J. Hauser, Voyagers, and Derek Eller. You can like this, share, link it up with all your social media sites, and you can subscribe. And unlike all the other people that have these art blogs, we invite you to leave your comments, criticisms, and reviews below, as long as you acknowledge that you thank Kate. That was great.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Kid Bowery.
What was that?
Kid Bowery.
Kid Bowery. On the Bowery. Cooper Union. All right, thanks, Kid Bowery. I'm James Kalm.